Okay, good morning all.
Good morning, sir.
Okay, there are some doubts in the previous topics so far we have discussed. I'll clear that. Then we go to the fourth module. In the previous class, we have discussed on aliasing in the chapter called list and the string what we have discussed. In that, there is some doubt. See, there is a variable called a equals banana and another variable with the same name. The question is whether these two variables, whether they belong to a single string object or two different string object. Here the value is same. In order to check whether they belong to, whether they A and B, whether they both will point to the same string object. For that, if you want to check, you have to use this operator called is. See that we have tried. Once again, we'll run this. Now, if we check A is B, it is giving true. What is the meaning of that is both are point to the same string object and the value is same. See, if I change the value and if you check, it's going to say it is false. Both are string objects. After that, the next check is the values are not same. The values are not same. Because of that reason, it is giving that it is false. In the first case, both will point to the same string object and also the values are same. That is why it is going to give it as true. And is the operator to check that whether both the variables, whether they point to a single string object or not. One thing. Now, always the Python will create a single string object and the values, if they are different, it will going to give it as false or else it is going to give it as true. But now we will check the same thing with the list. Now, in case of the list, see there are two lists are there. A equals 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'll repeat it once again because I have not shared the screen. We'll see once again. See there are two variables A and B and two values. And now in this case, two variables A and B, the values are same. And clear it and I will show it once again. Two variables with the value banana. And if I want to check whether A is a string object, B is a string object, whether both will point to the same string object or different, like this. You can visualize like this, whether A to one string object, B another string object, or it is like this. Both are pointing to a same string object. If you want to check this, you have to use this to is operator. Now, what is this indication is both is going to point to the same string object and the values are same. That is why both are pointing the same string object like this. That is why it is giving it as true. If you change just a value, a single value, now if you check with A is B, now it will give it as false because this is another string object where it is point with another value and this will point to another value. That is why it is giving it as false. This is with the strings. Now you try the same thing with the list. See this list. In the list, have created two lists which contains both 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now, if you, in this case, what is our assumption is both will contains the same values, then A is B should be true. But it is not possible in case of the list. Whenever the Python they have created this list, what they have done is they are going to create and they are going to point to a different list object. Every time whenever you create one, A is a separate list object, B is another list object. Why they have done like that is, see, the sequence of elements will be there. It cannot be the same. It can be 1, 2, 3, 3 to 1. Whatever you are going, what is our assumption is, oh, it contains only 1, 2, 3. Another array, it contains 3 to 1. Same elements are there. Then it should give it as true. They are equivalent. Both the lists are equivalent, but you cannot call them as identical. A is equivalent to B in terms of these values, but A is not identical to B because both they are not going to point to the same list object. If you want both A and B should point to the same list object, means in that case you should go for aliasing. What is this aliasing is? Now I'll create one variable, one list object. Now the A reference we are just going to assign to the B. Now B, if you get, B is also a list, and if you check A is B, yes, it will be true. Now it is just another name you have given to the A. The name is, another name is B. Both now A and B are going to refer to the same list object. That is why this is called as aliasing. And this aliasing you have seen in the SQL also. In the SQL keyword, instead of a name, the table name, you are going to give alias name, table name space as then the name you are going to give. That is also aliasing, the same thing. In that case, you can use any of the names. Both will point to the same array, sorry, same list. This is what the aliasing. Do anyone have doubts?
ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ನಿನ್ ದುಡ್ಡಿಗ ನಿನ್ನ ಅಕೌಂಟಿಗೆ ದುಡ್ಡು ಮೇಲೆ
Anyone have doubts in this aliasing?
ಇಲ್ಲ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಬೇಕು.
I have a doubt.
What, Srilakshmi?
Sir, is this works only for list or for normal primitive variables, primitive data?
Which is the primitive data type in this? You are saying about the integer.
Yes, sir. If suppose I initialize A to 5 and I alias that like B is equal to A, then
Yes,
if I modify any value.
Hey, you are saying this right?
Yes, sir.
See, this will be same. The values are same, right? Both the strings, it is the same thing. You can apply it for integers and float. Whatever the rules I have set for string, same thing you can apply it for the integer and also float, another primitive data types.
Okay,
If the values are different, then it is a different object. Or else there will be only a single string object, or there is only a single int. All the objects will point to that itself.
This one list for aliasing list, no, sir?
Okay.
If you modify like if I append something to A,
Okay.
so that will be showed by B. Like it will be even highlighted by B, sir.
Yeah, it will be highlighted. Even though whatever you done to the A, it will be updated to the B also. It is just another name, or the same address of the A will be stored in the B. You can use any of the names, that's all.
But in case of primitive data type, it won't happen, no, sir?
In which one?
No, primitive data types, it won't happen.
That will not happen.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. See, in the previous class, we have started with the classes and objects. We'll once again recall that how to create a class and an object. See, and also I have discussed in the previous class what is the importance of the class, why we should go for the class. If you want to store any information about a single example, in case of an employee or any student, there will be so many informations, so many data will be there related to one particular entity, that is like an employee or a student. In that case, if there are 100 employees or 100 students, into 100 into so many informations, so many variables, it is very difficult to handle that. Instead of that, all the informations about a particular entity or the real world object, if you want to encapsulate, then we'll go for this class. And even in the Python, it supports the classes. And how to create a class is with a keyword called class. You are going to create. And in the previous class, I told what is this x equals 5. You are going to call it as an attribute. We should use the name called attribute, and we have initialized it. Without the initialization or without any attribute, if you want to write, this is not at all possible. Empty class, if you want to write, you have to write a keyword called pass. Then that will be treated as an empty class. Or else without the pass, you have to declare minimum one attribute inside the class. And there should be a colon, which is very similar to the definition. When you write the functions, whenever we write the functions for loop, if conditions, anywhere we use this, right? Wherever we write colon, in the same way for the class also you have to write this colon, and this can be user defined, and this is a keyword. The next thing is how to create an object. To create, and also what is the full name of the my class? The full name of the class name is underscore underscore main underscore dot main my class. This is the full name of the class. This is just for the information. Next, in how to create an object. To create an object, as we know in the other programming languages, you have to use the keyword called new. But here there is no keyword called new. Directly you write a class name followed by these small braces. So just give one name, the left hand side. That will be the object of this particular class. Now, if you want to access the attribute inside that, the way is you have to give the object name dot the attribute. In this case, I'm going to print the value of that. That is why p1.x. If I want to update the attribute p1.x to 40, then if I want to print, it is very similar. Just p1.x. It should print first 5, then 40. This is how you are going to access any number of attributes you can create. Those many number of attributes you can print like this, or you can access or assign the values like this. This is how you are going to assign the values using the dot notation. We should call it as a dot notation. And we have discussed this init function. This init function is nothing but it is very similar to the constructor in the Java, what is this init function? When we use that is whenever we want to initialize the object attributes. If you want to initialize these attributes, initialize the object or the object variables or the instance variable or instance attribute is p1 attributes. In that case, we use this. Def is the keyword followed by underscore underscore init underscore underscore in the flower brackets, sorry, in the small braces. First, always this operator. In this case, we use the word self or else any name you can give, but the first parameter should be the that operator, self operator, followed by any number of arguments, parameters. It can be any name, and that the length should match with the whenever you create a object, there the length should match. In this case, name and age, this John will go to whenever you create an object. In the arguments, you are going to pass the name and the age. In this example, this name will be passed to this variable, age will be passed to this variable. Now this name, it will be passed to self dot name. This name and age, they are the attributes of the person. They are the attributes of the person. The right hand side, this name and age, this is the argument. This can be anything. N-A-A-G. N-A. See, this can be anything. See, this is just an argument. Whatever you pass here, that should be the right hand side. Whatever is the attributes of the classes are there, that should be the left hand side of the equals. This is to initialize. Any number of the object variables or the attributes you can initialize. Another object with another name with a different age. What is the main advantage of this init function is, the main advantage of init function is if there are 100 objects are there, in that each object there are 3 attributes. 100 into 3, 300 attributes. If you want to initialize, just these 3 lines are enough to initialize that. No need to write once again p1 dot name equals p1 dot age equals p2 dot name equals p2 dot age equals. In that way, you should write assign the values for 100 times for 100 objects. That is the main advantage of this initialization function. This is just a constructor. And how to create an user defined functions. User defined functions is nothing but a function. It can be based on your requirement. Based on your requirement, you will define your functions. In this case, just I want to write one function. In that, I want to just print the name of this first object. In that case, define function name in the bracket. By default, whenever you write it inside the class, outside the class, arguments are not mandatory. Here it is inside the class, minimum one argument is this self. Why this self is required? Because you are accessing one attribute of that class. Since you are accessing the attribute of this class, that is why you want this self. If you don't access, there is no required. It is not required this self. Definition, my function self print hello my name is self dot name, and you have written this function. In the same way, you can write any number of user defined functions. You have to follow this indentation. It should be, you have to follow this indentation. The function name is 2, and here my age is self dot age. This plus will not work because this is a string. You cannot concat with the integer. That is why for the print you are going to pass it with a comma. Now you should call that user defined function p1 dot my function 2. Now that function will print the age. Any number of user defined functions you can write. The third function you can write to print both. See the indentation. Without the indentation, if you write, it's a very big problem. See the third function, I'll just return to print both the name and the age. It is as simple as that to create an of user defined functions. There is no function called main here. There is no function called main. Within the class, you write the initialization function, the constructors. Then don't use the word constructor, initialization function, and then the user defined functions, then directly creating the objects and function calls. Object creation and function calls. This is how you can handle the classes in the Python. It is just a self parameter is nothing but it is an just a reference to the current instance of the class. It is just a reference to the current instance of the class. The next is if you want to modify the object, we have already seen this p1 dot age equals 40 that we have seen. We have discussed this. Now, how to delete the object properties? There is a keyword called, see, there are attributes. There are attributes like age and also the name. See, there is a operator called delete. I can directly delete that object if attribute, and then if I try to print that, it should give me the error. Very rare case you will get this type of situation where you want to delete the attributes, but there is a support in the Python. See, this class, what we have done is initialized the name and there is a function for to print the name. Then after that person, you have created one object. Delete first I'll print the age. Then after that deleting, I'll try once again. After deletion, it is not able to get the object. Person object has no attribute called age. It is after deletion in this p1 dot age. If I try to do this, it will give me the error. First, it will give me the value called 36 because here print is before. Before deletion, it is able to print that, say this, before deletion 36 were there, then after deletion p1 dot age has no attribute called age. That is why this delete operator this delete operator is going to delete that attribute. This is what the keyword called delete. In the same way, if you want to delete the object, it is possible. Directly the same program, just I'll delete the object itself. And if I try to access the object, then it is not able to get this object because you have already deleted. See, the name P1 is not defined. Since you have done the deletion, P1 is not defined. Do anyone have doubts? They can raise their hand. The topic so far we discussed. If you have any doubts, they can raise their hand. You know, any doubts? The topic is Madhushri. So don't feel any doubts. I'll wind up the class and we will discuss the remaining topics in the everyone is can start your USB and then present. It will be marked as an attendance. Present followed by yes and you have to write.
ಸರ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಚಾರ್ಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್.
That option is not there. It will work. Okay, thank you. Then I'll end the meeting. I have given enough time to send the message. Thank you.